The UFC summer schedule is set with some huge announcements for UFC 317 and 318 pay-per-view main events. Let's go and jump right into the big news. Ilia Topuria will be fighting for the vacant lightweight championship against Charles Oliveira June 28th, UFC International Fight Week. This is a huge one. We knew kind of, depending on what happened with JDM and Bilal, it was going to be either Ilia versus Makhachev, Ilia versus Oliveira. We kind of knew this was going to happen, but it's a huge announcement that he's making his lightweight debut. It will be for the undisputed belt. So like he said, he will get that shot. Take on number two contender, Charles Oliveira. I'm very interested in this one. I think Ilia's open as a minus 400 favorite already, which I think makes sense. We've seen undefeated Charles has been kind of known to. He's very beatable. He's had plenty of losses. There's been plenty of times where we've seen him, I won't say give up because that's a little extreme, but you've seen ones where as soon as adversity kicks in, he kind of rolls with it a little bit. He kind of lets it happen, but we've also seen ones where he makes a dramatic comeback. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this fight plays out, especially if Ilia does crack him early, swarms him. What if Charles weathers the storm? Do we see a Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz 1 situation where he unloads everything in the new weight class, but then the Charles Oliveira, like Nate Diaz, it just comes back like a zombie and keeps coming forward? That's where I'm really excited to see how this fight goes. Absolute banger. If I were to get into the rest of this fight card here in just a second, but the co-main event was also announced. Alexandre Pantoja taking on Kai Kara-France. I think a lot of people want to see Pantoja move up and fight someone at bantamweight, whether it's a super fight with Merab, something along those lines. But he has no interest in leaving the division. He's run through this division time and time again. Kara-France, I believe, is on a 1-fight win streak, but it was a nice knockout win. You had to match him up with somebody. Chances Kara-France lands a knockout shot and stiffens him a little unlikely. I think if you're going to beat Pantoja, you have to offer more than that. He's too gritty. He's too tough. He's too versatile. He's too smart. But you know what? When you have a puncher's chance, anything can happen. Kara-France does have the ability to put lights out, but he's not known as especially a flyweight. You're not going to have like those one shot completely change the game type power. But very interesting. Someone out of the fight, Pantoja. I'm curious to see what the odds on this one will be. But that's not the only fights we got announced. We also got 319 getting an announcement, as well as Dricus du Plessis will be taking on Khamzat Chimaev for the middleweight championship. This one's kind of been rumored here and there. August 16th, we knew it was going to happen eventually. It's finally signed, dotted, sealed, and delivered. This is one of, in my opinion, the most interesting matchups on paper. I think the odds, once I see them, once they are released, will probably be in the minus 110 to minus 120, somewhere in there. I think it's going to be almost dead even. Khamzat in the first round is as good of a first-round fighter as you will see current day. He has a lot of, like what Anthony Johnson used to bring, just instead of knockout power, Khamzat is smash. It is straightforward, pure pressure, grappling, heavy shots, submissions. If Dricus survives that first round in the same vein, where's Khamzat going to be in the second round, third round, etc.? We've seen against Gilbert Burns and Usman as the fight wore on, he wasn't quite the same terrifying machine. And Dricus is a very physical guy as well. Khamzat's a very physically imposing figure, but so is Dricus. So we might see a collision of titans right out of the gate in the middle of it. He can match a lot of that physicality, that presence in the cage too. So this is an incredible fight. I can't wait to see the odds on this one too. I think it's going to be relative. They're going to be very, very even. Look for it to be, if it goes back and forth and goes beyond 3, 4, 5 minutes, I really expect Dricus to win this one. He can match a lot of what Khamzat does. Khamzat's just an absolute chainsaw early on, and it's a different level and a different type of fighter than Khamzat's fought before. Whitaker, outstanding Hall of Famer, small, very easily bullyable. Like we've seen Dricus bully him. We've seen other guys be able to bully him when they get in tight, get in close, and take away his space. We'll see if he's able to do that. Dricus, who's much stronger, much bigger, much more imposing. But we're going to take a quick look now at the UFC 316 fight card as well, because that one was already previously announced. Let's go ahead and take a look at that one. That is headlined by Merab and Sean O'Malley. We knew this one was coming. This one's not too much of a surprise. Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison is the co-main event. A pretty good fight card. You look, there's a lot of ranked fighters. Granted, not a lot of highly ranked fighters. Marlon Vera versus Mario Batista's a pretty interesting and good one. I expect Batista to kind of do exactly what he did against Jose Aldo. A lot of grappling against the cage. Leave absolutely no distance between him. Sente Luque, Kevin Holland. But there's some pretty good fights here. We're going to circle up to the top where Sean O'Malley, as we're seeing, is a plus 260 underdog, minus 325 for Merab. Much different than their first fight. It's the fight that not a lot of people wanted, I guess, but they said a lot of people wanted it. It is what it is. What do I know? But what I will say is that these two is a pretty good fight card, a June 7th fight card. It's okay. It's pretty solid. It's not the greatest, but it's kind of what you see with a lot of the UFC cards today. You get a couple big headliners, and then the rest of it's just kind of filled in as we go. So they have so many events, they got to scatter some for main events, for fight nights and different things like that. But the next one I want to look at is we're going to take a quick look at the entire summer slate in itself. And this is what we're looking at right now. We got Merab versus Sean O'Malley, Ilia Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier at 318, and then Dricus versus Khamzat. I think this is a really good summer schedule. I think they did a very good job with this one. There was a lot of worry, I guess, because there was nothing really set in stone until just recently. So I'm excited to see how these ones play out. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. That's the biggest thing. We're still waiting on Jones Aspinall. That's the one we need to see. Hopefully that one's for 320. I think that one's in Guadalajara, Mexico. If not, maybe 321. We know JDM and Makhachev is probably coming up not long after that. But from June to August, we have a pretty solid slate here. 316, 17, 18, and 19. Let us know in the comments which one of these you are most looking forward to. The one thing I'm really curious to see is for 318 and 319, how they fill out the rest of those fight cards. Those are really awesome main events. I look forward to them, but I think they both need a stronger undercard. Even if it's not an incredible co-main event, let's see some good fights underneath it, some ones that really stand out. But next thing up, we talked about a little bit earlier, we're going to go ahead and look at the 317 fight card in its entirety. And what I'm really curious to see is with this one is everybody going to stay on it, which is always a concern with these fights? And B, I wonder if this is going to be the order of it. So obviously we talked about Ilia and Charles, Pantoja, Kai Kara-France, Paulo Costa versus Kopylov. Pretty good fight. I don't know if I love it in that third spot. Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. Really good fight. Perfect spot for that one. Jonata Dinez versus Justin Tafa. Should not be on a pay-per-view. That's a fight night card. There's not a whole lot intriguing about them. Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape. Really good fight. You could put that one in the maybe where Costa and Kopylov is. I think if that one's on the pay-per-view, it fills it out pretty decently. It is an International Fight Week card, which are usually just absolute bangers. I remember Chris Weidman versus Lyoto Machida, Ronda Rousey versus Alexis Davis on them before. We've seen they've been so jam-packed in the past, too. Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic, the first time, I believe, was International Fight Week as well. They used to be a real event. It's a good card. I think it could have benefited from like one more, maybe 3 versus 7 in one of the other weight classes, maybe a welterweight throwdown, something like that. Just like one more, that's something else. And like a couple of guys in the top 10 to put on that pay-per-view card. As I look at this now, just the first reactions, we're going to take Ilia, Pantoja, Kopylov. I like Moicano in that fight. I like Manel Kape too. So I think this is going to be a very good one when we do the betting breakdowns and predictions coming up closer to fight week, but just the initial reaction, that's what I'm looking at. But we got the summer slate laid out right now. The big questions are, of course, John Jones, Tom Aspinall. When, if ever, during Dana's announcement, he basically said, hold on, we're working on it. It's coming. I'll believe it when I see it at this point. I really hope so, but we'll have to wait and see how that's going to play out. The longest defending interim champion of all time. And then, of course, Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev. It's going to happen. The question is when. Maybe 321, 322, somewhere in there. We're looking at October. So we got a nice string of main events lined up here. I do like this summer schedule. I think they did a good job of bouncing back when it felt like there's a lot of worry, especially in the last few weeks of what it's going to look like. But 317 is not bad. 316 is not bad. I think they both could benefit from like one more higher fight with higher ranked guys. Like maybe not a fight for someone to get in the top 5, maybe like a 6 versus 8, something along those lines. Just a few fights to see somebody take that next step. 318, I'm curious, and 319, I want to see how they fill out those cards as well. But let us know down in the comments which one of these fights you are most looking forward to and which one you think is going to be the best fight of them all. Like which one you're most looking forward to and which one you think is going to be the standout fight that we look back on. But that's what we have for the UFC Summer Slate schedule announcements. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll see you all again next.